Now in the third and final month of the 2024 legislative session, lawmakers have been hard at work, working through bills that survived crossover day as we close in on Sine Die. Here's what happened at the Capitol this week. It was qualifying week for members of the state legislature as well as local county officials. Candidates must register and submit paperwork this week in order to appear on the ballot in May. Speaking of which, Representative Clay Perkle, a Republican from Ashburn, announced this week that he will not seek re-election this year. Perkle has served in the House since 2015. Georgia Public Policy Foundation President and CEO Kyle Wingfield testified again, this time before the Senate Finance Committee, about tax reform and what Georgia needs to do to remain competitive in a low-tax region. The House is moving forward with a $36.1 billion fiscal 2025 state budget that includes pay raises for teachers, state and university system employees, and judges. The House gave final passage to the Prosecuting Attorneys Qualifications Commission, which is a follow-up to legislation passed last year. Senate Bill 332, authored by Senator Randy Robertson, will give the panel power to remove prosecutors it deems guilty of a variety of offenses, including mental or physical incapacity, willful misconduct or failure to perform the duties of the office, conviction of a crime of moral turpitude, or conduct that brings the office into disrepute. It is now heading to the governor. The Senate adopted the Georgia Development Impact Fee Act, which will allow local boards of education to collect fees from developers to be used for educational services in certain fast-growing counties. Senate Bill 208 is authored by Senator Greg Dolezal. The bill is limited to school districts that have experienced 20% growth in student enrollment over the past decade and have expenditures of more than $250 million on educational facilities during the same time period. The House adopted the Georgia Criminal Alien Track and Report Act, which would enact penalties on sheriffs who do not report that an inmate is in the country illegally to Immigration and Customs Enforcement. House Bill 1105 is authored by Representative Jesse Petraea and now moves to the Senate. Following passage, Speaker John Burns released the following statement. While we continue to pray for Laken Riley and her family, the Georgia House took action today to strengthen public safety and security in our state, stand firmly against illegal immigration, and for the rule of law. And I am proud of the passage of House Bill 1105. And finally, the House also adopted the Squatter Reform Act, which would create the offense of unlawful squatting when someone enters and resides in a property without the owner's knowledge or consent. House Bill 1017 is authored by Representative Devin Seabaugh. That's all for this week. For weekly updates like this, as well as Foundation news and publications, subscribe to our weekly Friday Facts newsletter.